Today, we complete our journey with one of my favorite metal bands of all time, Raunchy from Denmark. As we say goodbye to them, we listen to the dulcet tones of their masterpiece that just so happens to have some flaws in the mixing. But today, we get to experience Vices, Virtues, Visions. Hello everybody and welcome back to the final video in our series of videos where we're checking out my favorite metal band, Raunchy. And today in this video we are going to be listening to the entirety of our very first Raunchy album from front to back. We're going to be listening to Vices.Virtues.Visions, their most recent album at the point where this video is being recorded. They have another album slated to come out sometime later this year. Possibly when I'm in the hospital because I have cancer with my bone marrow transplant, that Raunchy could feel sorry for me and give me a code to the album early. If anybody wants to, just throwing the idea out there, as I have said in every single one of the videos so far. So, I've talked about this album a lot. We've mentioned it in all of the other videos. And I think the thing to start with is the negative. Okay, and we're just jumping right into this because I don't want this to take forever. So
that's good.
Pretend we're talking about all the other junk we usually talk about at the beginning of these videos, about how use the music and I bought this cool thing in a thrift store the other day. Pretend we're doing all that. Just get all that stuff out.
Can we pretend that we're doing that every video?
I know. I try. Sometimes that's my goal, but I also like the podcasty nature.
Yeah, for sure.
And oh shoot. Okay, I do have one thing I have to say.
Oh.
Earlier on Discord, have you guys been on Discord in the last couple of hours?
No.
No.
I'll tell you guys what was said. In the general tab, someone posted a link to the Art of Guitar.
Oh.
He posted our section of our What Is Metal video. He cut it out of the video and posted it on his channel as a video, saying so awesome that these guys reacted to one of my videos in their video. And he says,
good.
Taken from Patrick Musilek's YouTube channel. And the 3.5 thousand views he's got on it throughout the day or however long it's been posted. There's a bunch of comments, and some of them are like, you should check out this guy's other stuff. Their channel is awesome. This channel is like one of my favorite channels. It's so cool to see two of my favorite YouTubers interacting. I'm like, what?
That's awesome. Yeah, this is how you get other YouTube creator friends.
Yeah, which is something I've been scared of the whole time. So, because I suck and don't know anything.
They should be scared.
I think
nonsense.
But I think that's how everybody feels.
Ultimately.
But the thing is, that guy, like the Art of Guitar dude, legit has like talent. We were reacting. His channel's called The Art of Guitar, and we were reacting to him playing the drums. So, but I thought that was really awesome, and so I went and just did a couple comments.
I saw somebody else post a video from that drum reaction guy you like so much with the stupid faces and the goofy words that he says.
6'6" Shamus.
I think so, yeah. I was like, I recognize that goofball.
Yeah. Yes.
That was cool.
I love that guy.
Yeah, honestly, like any video of his you see pop up. I've even watched some of his videos where he's like reviewing, someone sends him like an electronic drum kit or something, some sponsor. Mm-hmm. Even those are hilarious, where he shows himself like setting it up, and he does his little things and stuff. Like, just totally.
It's so funny.
Yeah, so Weird Al, like random stuff. And and he's so great. And so and the Art of Guitar guy too. We've actually featured him in one of our other videos on the channel when I was talking about, I reacted to him and his video that was a vlog about going to see Metallica at both of their shows one day after the other. And so that was when he first found out about us, when I reacted to that. And he reached out to me in the comment and messaged and was like, "This is so awesome. Thank you. Can I post about this on my thing?" I was like, "Of course." I took your thing without asking. So you don't have to ask. And he reached out to me as well and was like, "Hey, can I clip the section out of the video out that you guys were reacting to my video, and I was like, you don't need to ask me. Feel free, please do.
Right.
So that was a
awesome.
really, really cool thing. And I think it might be hard for some people to understand, because when we post a Metallica video, it's probably going to get like 25,000 to 50,000 views. Mm-hmm. When I post anything else like this video, if I get 500 views, it would be a miracle on this video.
Yeah.
So like, we are a nothing small channel still. You know, we have, by the time this comes out, we will probably reach 6,000 subscribers. I checked earlier today and we had 5,910, and now we have 5,912.
Wow.
So we will probably reach 6,000 by the time this comes up.
And it's 1 hour. Keep that momentum going.
And well, you know, this will be posted in several weeks from now. So.
Right.
But yes, so I'm grateful when people watch or anything at all, but like, it is still like, we try to, I mean, I don't lose sight of the fact that we're a nothing channel still. So, Okay, all that stuff out of the way. Join our Discord. It's really great. I didn't even mention it in the previous video, but we've got lots of great people there, including some people that I'm going to make Raunchy fans. I'm going to force them to watch the video. Soupy will comment on these videos. Wolfie Soupy will. But
I can't figure that guy out, man.
He's like a really great troll, like a nice troll.
Yeah.
For this video, I'm going to be drinking a Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
Ooh,
So
I gotta
you know,
get some of that.
I'm thirsty, and so I want to.
Choice.
That sounds good.
I did not. That must be new.
It is brand new. Yep. I've had it
yet?
before. Yes, I have
Okay.
tried it before. I tried it in one of my other videos.
The good.
It has a very strong odor. I can smell it from here. It is good, but it's more like grape than
Blackberry.
But
Blackberry.
it has a very specific. Like, I love
Blackberry.
flavoring. I love blue
I
raspberry.
think that's
flavor.
blackberry, isn't it?
Blackberry has a very specific flavor. I love blackberry. I love blue blackberry.
Just do the Mr. Black with your cover your mouth, replace the word.
Blackberry.
But it has a very fruity like smell. It's probably the strongest smell of any soda I've ever had, and I love the smell. And the taste is it's almost grapey. It's very strong.
Mm-hmm.
I've not been a fan of any of the flavored Dr. Peppers, really. And I really love Dr. Pepper, and I love different, like, weird flavors of pop, so...
Because that's the Dr. Pepper is perfect the way it is. It was designed
Yeah,
like
I guess
that.
so.
They put all
you
those
don't need
23
24
flavors into it.
That's right.
Exactly.
It tastes like nothing. It tastes like Dr. Pepper. It's
Okay.
It's magical.
Okay, so
are we listening on Spotify, or what are we doing here?
no, you're gonna listen
Okay.
on. That's what we're gonna talk about. So
Okay.
I didn't know how to have us approach this conversation. So as I've mentioned in all the other videos, there is something wrong with this album. And when I say
that's right.
When I say this album, I mean the copy of the CD that I have, which is the official release from the band with, look, even a QR code was a thing at the time when they released this one. Scan that QR code, people. I don't think you can do it when it's blurry like that, but you know, you can give it a shot. Maybe
You'd be
I'll
surprised.
Yeah. So when this album came out, it was my number 2 that year, and the only reason it was my number 2 is because the band And One released a triple album. A triple album,
this.
3 full-length albums, all in one pack, released on the same day, and I got that sucker, and it was amazing, and it's great. But I talked in our video, our top 12 albums of the year video that year, I talked about this album more because I was so fraught with peril and just so torn, because I think if this album was mixed the same way the album we just listened to, Discord Electric, was, I think I could say that it's my number 1 favorite album of all time. I really think that. I think this album is that good. However, it's not mixed that way. It's mushy. It's mushy, and it's lacking high frequencies, and there's a buildup of kind of some of those mushy frequencies. And so what I did years and years later, but probably for the last like 7 to 8 years now, I ripped the CD onto my computer, I loaded it into my audio editing software, I boosted the highs, I took out just a smidge of those like frequencies,
Yeah.
and I burned myself this copy of the album, which is what I've listened to for the last 7 to 8 years. I have not listened to the real CD forever. So, when we were
Did you come up with a clever alternate title for it?
No, it's just called Vices.Virtues.Visions Patrick's Mix.
Okay.
So when we were getting ready to do these videos, I was sitting here and I listened to the Spotify album, the album on Spotify for the first time ever. And I was like, there's more high frequencies in this than I remember. And there's a little less mushy. And so
Good. I was going to ask you if the online version was different.
So I was like, I think they have committed the crime of having their digital version be mastered differently than the CD, the physical versions.
Did you go back and listen to the original after you did that?
Yes, I did. They are identical.
They
are identical.
So what's wrong with you is the question.
You know, it's funny. I don't know. I think so. Here's what I did earlier.
Could it have been whatever you were listening to at the time?
I don't think so, because it was it was literally what I still listen to today.
Okay.
And here's what I did yesterday. I came down here in this exact same setup we have now. I forgot to turn my lights on again, Cody. I came down here with
reminded you earlier.
No, you didn't. I reminded you that you didn't remind me, and then you said to go do it. That doesn't count.
But then it didn't get done.
Right. I came down here yesterday and I listened to the whole song, the full first track on Spotify, and I recorded it just like we're going to do now for this video.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I took that file and I brought it into my digital audio workstation and I normalized it. And then I ripped the CD version and then I ripped my version. And I listened to them all. And what I can tell you is there is more low frequencies on the CD. But I think that is because I was listening to it in 320 kilobit MP3 format on Spotify. It was recorded as a 320-bit kilobyte file, a 320 kilobyte MP3 file. Mm-hmm. So it has been compressed to a 320 kilobit MP3 file twice. And what that's going to do is get rid of some of the highs, get rid of some of the super lows. And so in listening to it, I could tell there was some of the lows missing. And I would say that they were the good lows, the subsonic frequencies, which is technically what's going to be missing right away. So I listened, but I compared it to the album version, and I don't think there was any difference. I think the differences that I was hearing in the lows and maybe some of the super highs, though I couldn't perceive that, is the conversion to MP3 twice. So I'm going to say I think that the CD version is the same as the digital version. And so I was surprised that it wasn't as bad as I remember it being. And then I listened to my version. And I was going back and forth between them. And I remember at the time when I did it, the first two songs on this album are the two worst songs on the album, both in terms of songwriting and also for some reason they just don't sound the same as the rest of the album. So this album has certain songs that I think sonically sound a little bit better than other songs. So for example, and I know you guys don't, if you want to pull up the song list, you can. If you want to pull it up on Spotify, you can, just to see the information about it. But track 3, Digital Dreamer, I think is the highest quality sounding song on this album. For some reason, there's a little bit more highs. The vocals are brought up more in the mix. They're more clear. And I think the guitars sound a little crispier. And to me, my biggest problem with this whole album and the way it's mixed is the lack of crispiness in the guitars. Because the guitars are such an important part of Raunchy, to have them feel kind of muddy and more backgroundy is really to the detriment of the mix overall. I will say, I think possibly the best sounding drums I've ever heard are on this album. So I do think the drums translated super well. And I think that what they were doing at the time was, this album has so many more layers to it than what we were just listening to. There is stuff everywhere. Sonic there is wall of sound pretty much everywhere on this album. And so I think their idea was, we're going to take a little bit of the high frequencies out of the guitars so the synths and the drums and the vocals can sit on top of them a little bit. And that's fine. We talk about that all the time. Chris, you and I have talked about that a lot. That is an acceptable thing to do, especially in the metal genre, to allow things to sit on top of it. However, during the mastering, someone also decided to take that low pass frequency filter and go just a little bit too much.
A little too far.
They moved it over just a little too much. cutting off that breathy high frequency. And so what I did was I added a little bit of that back in, but it also made the cymbals sizzle a little bit more. It made things noticeable that aren't supposed to be noticeable a little bit, because that's not how the album was presented to everybody. So I debated yesterday. I was like, what, should we just listen to this on Spotify like we listen to everything? And so I sat and I listened to the first song like 3 times. And at the end I was like, we're just going to listen to my version with the boosted high frequencies. I want you guys to hear this as good as possible. And when we sat down before we started recording anything tonight, I was sitting here listening to this, and I was just like, this sounds so good. What happened? Why is this happening? And I think part of it, for some reason, is the combination of this computer, which I don't know if there's some sort of EQ or anything on this computer that, like, the output of this computer may have something on it. It shouldn't. It shouldn't, especially because I'm not using the computer. I'm using my M-Box as the output, which is what I've been using for 25 years or however long now, 20 years. It's 20 years and since I got it. And it just sounded so good. So I'm really hoping that when we listen to this, you guys don't think it's too crispy, because it's possible that I overdid it to compensate for maybe the fact that I don't have the greatest headphones. Maybe I don't have the greatest, I was listening on my CD player, which on my old CD player, I used a bass boost on it because there was no bass on the thing at all. So, I messed with the EQ of it a little bit and on my CD player, not the EQ of this, other than just boosting some highs and taking out a little bit of that woofiness. And in taking out some of that woofiness, I did remove probably some good low frequencies as well. So I don't want it to sound too thin either. So I'm hoping you guys listen to this and you're like, this sounds good. It sounds more than passable.
If anything will highlight whether or not the highs are too sharp, it's going to be these headphones. They're very
I'm very curious what you say then, because I feel like there's a chance that maybe you would have preferred the other mix. And if that's the case, after we go through the first song or two, we'll switch over and listen to it on Spotify. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
The other thing that I want to bring up with this album is, Chris, you and I have talked about this before. Some mixes, the way albums sound, your ears have to adjust to what you're hearing. And actually, every album is like that. You really should give your ears a couple of songs to adjust to it before it settles in. It's so silly to say that, but it's absolutely true. This album in particular, for me, I love listening to this album from front to back, even though it's such a monster of an album. This album is beefy. This thing is thick with multiple C's, very thick. and like, it's hard almost to listen to it all the way through, because the second half of it especially is very getting prog metal-y, and there's some long stuff going on, but I love all of it, and I think you guys are going to enjoy a lot of it too. But you really need to, because we listen to a song, stop, talk, I don't know if that's going to benefit us in the fidelity of this album either, because I really think this album, more than almost any other album I've ever heard, you benefit from listening to from song to song to song, letting your ears adjust to what you're hearing, and then after a while you don't notice any of the imperfections anymore. So unfortunately, we're not going to do that. We're going to be stopping and talking between the songs. Maybe there's a couple we'll go from one song into the next because they have such cool transitions. But that's just, the way it is. Yeah. Another thing I have to say that's a negative of this is when I ripped the CD initially, when you use Winamp to rip a CD, it's automatically set to have like 2 seconds of silence at the end of every track. And maybe you can change that setting, but 10 years ago when I did this initially, I did not have that. I still don't have it now. So at the end of every one of these songs, there's going to be like a 2 to 3 second gap between every song, which is a real bummer, because some of the songs really go right from one song into the next in a really cool way. But I wasn't too worried about that in this case, because I do think we're going to probably stop between a lot of the songs. So I wasn't focusing on that too much, but I do want to point that out and say, that's a really cool progressive thing about this album. The songs do go from one right into the next a few moments on the album, which is a really cool thing that I personally like. And they've done that on some of their all their previous albums, really. with having a few things kind of linger out as the next song starts. But in this one in particular, specifically from track 3 to track 4, there's a really cool, and we'll talk about it when we get there, there's a really cool retardando at the end of Digital Dreamer, where the song is at a specific tempo, and at the end they set a specific time and they slowly get slower and slower till they're at the tempo of the next song, and they and then the next song starts at the tempo that they've already just established. So
that's cool.
Very cool stuff. Let's see what else. This is the first time you guys are going to hear Raunchy with their current vocalist.
Oh boy. Third time's a charm.
We have a new singer. This guy's name is Mike Semeski. I think you are going to like him the best out of all three.
Okay.
He has a very accessible and very familiar sounding clean vocal. So yes, this guy does singing vocals. So in a sense, the band now has 3 vocalists. A guy that does harshes, a guy that sings and sounds very kind of familiar with the way he presents his vocals, and then the guy you're already familiar with, Jeppe Christensen, doing a lot of cleans as well. So we have lots of layering of vocals, way more than we've had up to this point. And they also do a lot of layering of harshes on top of or underneath of cleans. We haven't got that a lot throughout Raunchy's career. A little bit on that album Chris liked a little bit, Death Pop Romance. But for the most part, when there's harsh vocals, the song is harsh. Then, especially on Discord Electric, the choruses got really poppy and the guitars got really simple and choppy, and then there was just clean vocals. On this album, you're going to hear mixtures of everything across the entire thing. So you're getting a lot of layering in the keyboards, in the guitars, and especially in the vocals. You're going to hear lots of layers. So I think the best thing to do here is to just get right into it and start this. This is going to be possibly, Chris, the most, how do I word this? This might be, this album is, I've said it all the time, it's so meaty. Like, this album is maybe hard for us to get through all of this. It is such a beast of an album that, like, I mean, not every album is meant to be listened to from front to back. And this is one that I do try to listen to it that way, but very rarely do I get all the way through to the end. Mm-hmm. And so I don't, if you guys get to a point where you're just like, I am not feeling this anymore, we'll just stop. Okay?
I mean, I wouldn't even be against breaking it up into two videos.
I'm sure you wouldn't, but we're not going to do that. So I've been saying the whole time 4 videos. We already screwed up the third one. We're not screwing up the last one. So with that being said,
let's get to it then.
Let's get to it. Okay.
All right.
I am going to load all of the songs into, once I get them up, into my foo bar, which everybody watching, you will get to see the wonderful frequency response of this entire album.
I like the spectrogram it shows. That's what I watch.
Yeah.
Hold on. let me open and actually. Okay, I'm dumb.
It's fun when you get like a sweeping note. You can really see it on there. I don't know if you have that on yours. Every foobar is completely different based on your skin or whatever.
You know what? That works for me. It doesn't matter.
Matches the album art.
Right. It matches the album pretty good. So, and that's what I was going for. So. I was like, I'm going to do this for every album. And I was like, no, most of this stuff we use. So, okay. The first track, Eyes of a Storm. The weakest track on the album, in my opinion. But I'm curious what you guys think. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is Eyes of a Storm by Raunchy from Vices.Virtues.Visions from 2015, 10 years ago. In 3, 2, 1. Pretty similar sounding Raunchy sounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, for everybody listening, this is my EQ'd version. Here we go. So this is Yeppy.
Okay.
And here comes Mike. Both of them together.
He fits in good.
Oh, yeah. Chris, what do you think of his screams?
Of what?
His screams.
It's definitely...
You can think about it. Yeah, think about it. All right.
I think it is a little bright on the highs now, like to the point where it's like, eh.
Okay.
Every once in a while, just in a couple of spots, some sibilance. Some of this, and so many of the symbols are happening just on the right.
I know,
which is interesting.
Yeah. Well, because it is what the drum symbols are, where they are, I believe, in relation to his kit. So it's a faithful interpretation of his kit, I believe.
And I can totally see that, like 300 to 900 like mud, especially in the second half of the chorus, where it's like, this is turning into just a log.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit of definition, and I can't tell exactly why it's happening, but it's in there.
It's over compression. Yeah.
Okay.
The whole thing is compressed a little weirdly.
But as far as the song goes, fantastic song.
Yeah.
And to comment on what you asked me about the vocals, I almost had this thought of like, if they were playing minor league ball before, the new vocalist brings them into like the major leagues of regular metal as far as being surrounded by their contemporaries, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think he has a much more stereotypical sounding harsh vocal. And I personally feel like on this album, it really works well. And I really think that his allowing him to do overdubs of harsh vocals with his singing really adds a lot to this whole album, a lot. And I think that him and Yeppy singing together just works great. Because I think when he was doing, the keyboard player, Yeppy Christensen, was doing the vocals before, it was basically him doing all of the like big harmony, like big wall of sound vocal stuff. And now there's an extra voice in there, and I think that just helps everything so much. I think the keyboards on this are the main thing you're listening to, especially during that chorus, you know, and if you just focus on just the keyboard parts across this entire album, it is like flawless God tier the entire time. Like it's so cliched, weird sounding synth stuff, doing the most Depeche Mode-y sounding simple melodic stuff. And it is just cherry. It's perfect. It's so awesome. And that's one of the reasons I think I can forgive this album so much, is because just the songwriting is so good. And I think that it just is such a perfect encapsulation of what this band can do. Like, this is them firing on all cylinders and living up to their potential. And like I said, if this album was mixed the way any of their previous albums had been mixed, because I think this is the worst sounding thing we've heard other than since their first album. But like I also said, this is the worst sounding song quality-wise on the album. So I think it's going to get way better from here. And that is just not my favorite song on the album at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know. How did you feel about that, Cody? I mean,
it was all right. I don't know.
Did it feel more accessible to you than what you've heard of them so far?
Not necessarily, I don't think.
No. Did you notice a difference, really? I mean, obviously, then other than the fact that there's like a different vocalist, I guess, but...
No, I guess just the vocals stuff. And maybe it's because I've only... we've heard 4 tracks from each album or whatever, and kind of all in a row, and I couldn't tell you which ones were from which album or even which singer, if I think back to them. So it's like they all kind of blur together to me.
Yeah, and
so it still sounds like the same band,
Yeah, and that's what I have to try to keep reminding myself, like, you guys don't know this band as well as I do, so like it's easy for me to say like, wow, they've never used that note before, Right. But that wouldn't mean anything to you guys, so that's why I think it's fun to listen to a full album.
And it means even less to me as someone that doesn't listen to metal, so it's hard for me to identify like, oh, that's a unique thing that they're doing here,
Yes.
And the vocalist, I thought, is he like, when he's screaming, is he like less melodic than the other guy? It just feels like he's more like monotone, and which is, I thought you said, didn't you say that was kind of a thing that they did that was unique, is they're kind of screaming?
Right, their other vocalists did that more, because he wasn't really screaming so much as just having like a guttural type of thing, kind of like a rasp, you know?
It was more of a shout, and I think he had more freedom for movement and that style.
Whereas this guy is definitely... when he's doing the like he's
more traditional screaming,
much more traditional, and throughout almost all of metal, when a guy is screaming, they scream at the same pitch, the whole time. And then that's why I said you have a low voice, like a low scream, a high middle scream, and a high scream, and then it's how you use those things together. And then really great vocalists, like the vocalists for probably all of the bands that me and Chris like and love, they can do multiple pitch screaming.
Sure.
And like I said, the better you become at screaming and doing harsh vocals, the less you're actually probably screaming. It's kind of like Lars, like James says with his distortion. You turn the distortion down to get to, and it just sounds better and heavier, and you get more definition. And it's like, well, that it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to listen to what I perceive to be the second worst song on the album. And then from there, it's banger after banger after banger after banger.
The second worst song on the perfect album.
I do think it's a perfect album. That's what I'm telling you. This is just the shade of paint that I care the least for.
Sure.
So, all right, We'll after this song. Remind me to. Actually, do you have the lyrics pulled up for this one, Cody?
I can. Sure.
Yeah, I would say pull them up because all the lyrics. I was reading the booklet here during that song. All the lyrics on this album were written by Mike Semeski. So he's the new vocalist.
Okay.
And he had, I believe, full creative reign. And this is a concept album. Every song, there are 7, if I'm remembering this correctly, and I remember reading this on their Facebook page at the time when they released this. I don't know if this information is even out there anymore, but I remember reading them posting about the album, and the singer posted what each of the songs was about and everything. And the overall album is about the 7 deadly sins. And then there's also, I believe, there's 7 deadly sins, and then there's it's 7 deadly sins. And then I think there's 3, something like that, like not Beatitudes. That's a Catholic thing.
The tempers?
Huh?
The 4 tempers?
No. One of the songs I know doesn't fit specifically into everything. It's the last song, the Singularity Heart. That song doesn't fit the theme. So there's 10 specific. It does fit the theme, but it's not specifically one of these. There's 7 vices, and then there's 3. I don't know if they're the virtues, and then there's 1 vision. That would make sense.
This
wouldn't
is
it?
the 7 deadly sins, the 7 heavenly virtues.
Right, but I know for sure it's about the 7 deadly sins, and if you go through the songs, you can tell what each song is a representation of a specific sin.
Yeah.
But then there's also like 3 something else, like 3
Yeah.
the 3 common virtues or something.
Oh, this says that there's 7 opposing virtues. Like charity, diligence,
But
patience,
maybe it's not
kindness.
virtues. It must be something else then. Like somehow I remember him saying there's 3 of the bad thing, or there's 7 of the bad things, 3 of the good things, and then the final song is a wrapping up of the whole thing.
Okay.
And it is a concept album in that is the concept that each song is about. I don't know if it's each song in a row, but you can tell some of them are like super obvious what they are.
Okay.
And so keep that in mind.
Okay.
And this is definitely the most like we are not singing about big cigars and and women of all sizes. You know, we're not singing. This is a real album.
Okay.
I would say. So I do think if you do get any interesting lyrical insights while we're listening, please bring that up because I think that might be something to keep in mind.
All right.
All right, are you guys ready for Truth Taker?
Yes.
Now we're ready.
In 3, 2, 1.
Boom.
Wow.
Oh, listen to those guitars go. Way more definition in this song already than the previous one. So that's low and high vocal, screaming vocals.
Of all the stuff we've heard, that might be the most contrast between just
Really?
guttural vocals
Okay.
and light singing.
I recognize this song.
Oh.
Really?
I don't think Patrick believes you.
I don't, but unless I played it for you at some point. Acoustic guitar. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. Ah, what a badass riff. Look at that thing in there. Half tempo.
I think I like his screaming vocals more than the other guy, maybe.
I feel like it's harder to hear what he's saying, but I personally like it. I like the other guy too, but his was so unique. Casper's was so unique. This is so much more like typical metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. That EQ boost really did a lot to bring the cymbals alive, though. Like you can hear everything happening.
Yeah. I love the strummed acoustic guitar. I don't know if you guys can tell it. It's off to both the left side for sure. But
Yeah, there it is.
It's just you just hear the the fingers on the strings. You don't hear the guitar itself really, but I think it's recorded twice and spread wide. All right, here we go.
But because the cymbals are on the right, the highs from the acoustic show up more on the left.
Yes. And they may have mixed it that way intentionally with having more there. A lot of strings on this album you're going to hear, which is something you didn't get much before. This is a prog part right here. You know, there's like an xylophone, there's a synth lead, there's a guitar lead, there's strings, there's the guitar, bass, drums, rhythm part. A lot of layering, a lot of atmosphere, a lot of character.
Really ambitious for something to end up not mixed as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of why.
Yeah. And still keeping up with that raunchy. This album has my favorite drums on it of any metal album. I think
they are
Morten Toft Hansen is. We've talked about him the whole time in every album. He's my favorite drummer for a reason. This album is like the drums have such character what he's playing. That vocal right there. It is a screamy, it is a yelling type of thing that he does throughout the album that is harsh but clean at the same time. Adds so much, so much.
It's so good.
By the way, on Foobar, you can go to playback and then down to stop after current. And it will stop after the current song plays. So
No spoilers.
I don't know if you could tell at the end of that song when it stopped, you could hear a little bit of the next song starting. You could hear this kind of like type thing sort of starting on the side there. Okay, so thoughts on that one, I guess.
That was fun. It started so intense.
Yeah,
it was just
that really stood out to me.
You don't believe me that I've heard that song before. But.
Yeah, I don't believe you that you've heard that. But unless, like I said, I showed you, and this is my second least favorite song on the album, so I highly doubt it. I know for a fact I've shown you Anesthesia's Throne a couple times, because that song, track 6 on this album, that song gives me heart attacks. Like that song, that is one of the songs that makes me, it like literally will probably make me sick while we're listening to it. It's the most amazing thing I've ever heard. It's so good.
I mean, I think I've probably tried to listen to this album on my own with my sentient brain.
Right.
And that's probably why I recognize some of these songs.
Sure. Absolutely. That's totally plausible. I will yeah. Go ahead, Cody.
Do we want to switch to Spotify? Or
I mean, are you having any problem with the high frequency?
I mean, no, but I'm not the kind of person that would notice, I guess. So I don't know. Just
I'm all right with it being the way it is. I
Okay.
wouldn't mind hearing the difference at some point, but otherwise,
I was going.
it's not
What I was
uncomfortable.
going to have us do was start the video off by having you guys just on your own listen to it and see what you thought. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, it'd be better for me to just pick what I think sounds the best and go with it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think if you're okay with it for now, just keep going through this way, and then maybe after we're done with it and we've heard the whole thing and you are so comfortable with how it feels.
Yeah.
You know, because the other thing I messaged to Chris was like, do you want me to take one of their songs and edit it from going from one to the other and like recording myself going switching now, you know, and then
Right.
and doing
I
that
feel like
so that
I think you shouldn't add the you switching now part. Just A B within the confines of the song. You know, random
Right.
piece lengths and stuff, and it's like
Right.
if you can hear the differences when it happens, it's more clear.
My experience in doing that, and when we've done that before in videos and stuff, is that it is just like so obvious. It makes you hate the inferior one, and the inferior one
Usually,
is always the one with less high frequencies. I
Yeah.
promise you. So if as long as you guys can stomach it. So Chris or Cody, did you get any particular vice or virtue from that?
Oh well, they
Visions, maybe?
explicitly mentioned envy in the they're painfully witnessing another person's victory, having envy. So I assume this is the envy song.
Yeah. The chorus, shouldn't you be living above this?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you, you know,
Yeah.
be
Maybe he's
finding
talking
your
about
own
a gas
way?
station.
Shouldn't you be finding your own way, endlessly praying for just one taste of a truth of anything but your own?
Yeah. This
I
is
really
definitely
do.
one where
I
you
do
can't-
like the lyrics on this album. Sorry, good.
No, that's right. With this new vocalist, when he's screaming or whatever you want to call it, his harsh vocals, you cannot understand him at all.
So I mean, see, I can understand him, and I think, given time, you could too, but that's not what we're here for. So, okay, here we go. Now the album actually starts, and I am so pumped for this. When this album came out, I was looking up reviews of it on Amazon and whatnot, and one comment stuck out to me the most, and they were like,
This album sucks so bad. What are they trying to be Imagine Dragons for? This is supposed to be metal, not Imagine Dragons.
and the
Here
comment
we
was
go.
like,
Digital Dreamer is just an Imagine Dragons song. Why are they even bothering to be a metal band anymore?
so, are you guys ready to listen to what is a first-class, incredible, amazing song?
Imagine watching on an Amazon review.
Oh, dude, I used to. Amazon reviews were like my thing for so many years. That was, I can honestly say, and I'm disappointed to say this, but I've actually had albums ruined for me, but because I read the Amazon reviews before I listen
miss
to the
when
album.
I miss when Amazon you could put replies on reviews and they had their own little threads and stuff because then people
I
would be
agree,
like,
it
you
was
don't know
very
what you're
fun.
talking about.
Yeah, it was very fun. I left my own Amazon reviews on some albums that no one had any reviews on.
Yeah.
So there's probably like a dozen or so album reviews you could find on Amazon where I'm the only person that ever reviewed it, and I, of course, thought way too hard about it and tried to make it all professional and stuff. All right, are you guys ready for Digital Dreamer? Mm-hmm. Chris, I think you're just gonna love this, and Cody, I think
can't
you
wait
will too.
because I hate Imagine Dragons, and I'm really excited to like.
That's
this
just
song a
someone
lot.
being stupid. All right, here we
The
go.
idea came from somewhere.
Okay, this is Digital Dreamer, and this is the song that goes into the next song.
Play the song.
But we'll probably stop it. In 3, 2, 1.
I did turn on the stop after current setting or whatever. So.
You have to do it every song.
What the hell is the point of that?
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
I can
Every-
also just click stop.
Yeah, I know.
What a funny,
Okay,
stupid
here we go.
thing that is. That riff is unique. Man, that symbol on the hard right was just like having the sun blast me in my eye.
Oh,
And then it stopped, and it's like, oh,
oh, dang.
it's all right.
Ooh, Age of Overload, referencing their Summer of Overload from their second album. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Ooh.
A lot of interesting guitar stuff happening here. The synth part.
And that was guitar in the first part.
All right, here comes the transition to the next song.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And this is where Morton Toft Hansen just shines.
Nice.
Okay, so, Chris. I took off the EQ boost on the high frequencies when I rendered this song.
Interesting.
That is how that song sounds.
And you took it off because you thought this one specifically sounded fine?
Right. When I boosted everything else, it
Okay.
sounded more similar to this.
Okay.
And on this one, I thought this just had more high frequencies in it. It just does.
It does.
And some of the other songs on the album do too, but the crispiness of the guitars here, everything just sounds much nicer. There's so much more clarity to everything. So I don't know if it has to do with where they recorded it, how it was mixed, what was going on. But
Weird.
yeah. So that sun that was killing you, that was Raunchy killing you, not me.
It was just so bright.
Yeah.
And then when it went away, it was like they switched to a different symbol that was not nearly as slicey and bright. And then it was almost smeary. I could see where you would feel that lack of high frequencies in a scenario where that particular super bright symbol wasn't happening.
Yeah. And this, yes. And, you know, it's just what it is. You know, it is what it is. Like the album, I definitely feel like this song is noticeably different than the first two. I do feel like the rest of the album is a little bit more similar to this. So I think from here on out, hopefully it sounds about this quality, maybe a little bit. I did put the high frequency back on it, but I decreased the amount a little bit, just a little bit. So, and again, I wasn't boosting it like a ton, you know, but I was boosting the highs for the first two tracks. Didn't boost them at all for this one, and then going forward, I'll be boosting them slightly less. So,
Okay.
Did you notice anything in the lyrics for this one then, Cody?
You know,
I mean, I like what this song is about. It's just literally about the digital age and information, and I like stuff like that, you know.
yeah, I mean, that's what I got from it. I don't really see which of the vices or virtues that it corresponds with, but
Right, and it
I
might
don't
not
know.
necessarily be. I do, like I
Yeah.
said, I like the Age of Overload reference in there. Summer of Overload being the first Raunchy song I ever heard, which we listened to back in the first video of this. So now we're going to be going into Never Enough, which is the first long song on the album. It's actually 45 seconds longer than the longest one we've heard so far. That is kind of a shorter one on the album, the one we just heard. I don't think there's very many songs under 5 minutes. There's two like singles or poppy songs on this album, both phenomenal. One is track 5, The Castaway Crown, and then one of them is Luxuria, I believe, track 7. And then, yeah, so we're going to go into Never Enough now.
Okay.
And this is... And this...
How's that spelled?
Bois. This is, again, coming right out of what we just heard. So imagine Morton in your head going... In 3, 2... Sorry, let me start the counter. Sorry. I screwed up. 3, 2, 1.
A lot more splashy symbol on the left for this one.
Yes. Yep. Because he's using the tip of the drum. The drum
Stick.
Correct. The stick.
Yeah.
Is that a common way to mix drums? Is like where they are on the kit?
It's the most common way you ever hear drums
Who
ever.
cares?
Yeah.
Where they're at.
Well, how
kit.
else would you do it?
Yeah, you can't
can't
move them
just have
somewhere
them-
they're not, or the stereo image will be messed up.
Yeah, but if you're like, okay, you're not sitting in the drum seat.
Hold on, Cody, don't make me pause
Sometimes
the song.
you've either got drum position or audience position, so it's
Yeah.
going to just be a mirror of itself.
Okay,
The hi-hat's doing a lot
I
of
was
really
gonna say,
cool rhythm
it's
work
back.
here.
That's that crazy hi-hat he has. This is Mike.
Whoa.
Yeah?
Yeah. Awesome.
This is such an old school raunchy thing right here.
All the guitar noodling in the back of this is almost lost. Almost.
A lot of lead guitars, a lot of noodling going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to the intro. Nice string part, right? Strings. The main thing you're hearing, really.
Yeah.
Remember this bell part and how it sounds. It comes back later on in the album. Switching it to piano.
Great.
And now we're into something totally different. And this is where the prog element comes in. Oh, I just
really
love
great.
the layering. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I love for a second that you could hear that guitar part. That so cool. And now you can hear it now, whereas before you didn't notice it. Unless it wasn't there before, I'm not too sure.
That was very Avenged Sevenfold.
Interesting, okay. Third time this has happened in the song. So one could say this is what we were talking about in the last video. But it's not about the guitars here. The guitars are just doing sort of general fast
Right,
picking
this is
stuff.
all that string bit.
Yeah. Another retardando. Listen how good those drums sound.
Yeah, that's really nice. Having them so singled out like that, like you can hear like the gate on the reverb and just get so much better understanding of why they sound so good.
So, what now that we've had a couple songs with the new singer Mike, what are your guys' thoughts? And I'm focused specifically. I'm more asking on his clean vocals.
I love the clean vocals.
Yeah. Do they remind you of anything in particular? Because they remind me very clearly of something very specific.
Not really.
No, but I'm curious what you're going to mention.
Yeah. Panic at the Disco.
Oh, sure. Interesting.
Or that style, like Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like he sticks his chin out when he sings the end. It does. He has that same style of singing that is like the dude from Panic at the Disco. And I don't know what you call it, but it's a pretty common, like in popular music, it's a pretty common thing. And he has that. And when I first heard it, I was like, no, they've ruined Raunchy. But the more I listened to it, the more I was like, no, this is awesome. This is actually great. It totally fits with their
ruined me.
vibe. It fits with their like poppy vibe, like their pop vibe, you know? And it adds a layer to them that they did not have before, which I think is really interesting. And you'll hear more of him when they do. The next song we're going to hear is one of their poppier ones, and one of their like. Well, they're all, every song on this is fantastic, but this next one is one of the two that I consider to be like the let's put this on the radio, but it never got on the radio type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for you guys to hear that. And there's also some fun cymbal stuff, I think, in this one. I get the two songs mixed up, Castaway Crown and then Luxuria. I get those two mixed up. I think it's Luxuria. Yeah. Gosh, I can't. We're already like halfway through the album already, and I just am shocked. I can't believe it. We aren't really, but like, yeah. Okay, so
We were.
let's just go on. Let's just go on. This is the Castaway Crown, which on the previous album, we listened to it, or no, we didn't listen to it. There's a song called Tiger Crown. And so I don't know if this is exactly related to that or not, but it is imagery that they're continuing to use in an interesting way. Like Tiger Crown doesn't mean anything. Castaway Crown doesn't really, I guess you could think of it as like a cast away crown.
Yeah, like cast off to
like
the
it's
side.
been cast away, but that's not the way it's spelled. It's spelled castaway, like a dude that's been lost at sea or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But this is Castaway Crown, the shortest song on the album. In 3,
At
2,
12 minutes.
1.
Do I look ready? All right.
I had my foo bar up on top of you, so I did not know. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Some really great double bass stuff here. Right. When he hits that double bass, it's just the greatest sound in the world.
It's so good.
Synth, baby.
Primarily, overwhelmingly, synth
Yep.
and drums are an interesting
Yep.
combo.
So that was cleans and harsh vocals all together.
I feel like the harsh vocals, I want to say that it reminds me of All That Remains, but I need to listen to them again.
Okay.
Make sure that's true.
Interesting.
I love the little flourishes where the vocals seem like they're just going to do a thing that's predictable, and then they add a little like
Yep. Blast beat. Here we go.
Castaway lost at sea.
Yep.
it would be a less interesting song without that synth.
Yo, I agree. It's so cool.
Yes. I love that he comes in at the very end of that verse.
Right?
Very cool.
Yeah. Da 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 da. Love it. The synth part is so cool here. Oh, the double bass just kills me. It sounds so punchy. It's so punchy.
I'd love to know why.
I think
how?
because there's not an abundance of low frequency in it.
Fair.
Because so many kicks have just so much low frequency that when everything gets compressed, it just loses its punchiness completely.
Yeah.
Also, it sounds like a real drum, and I'm sure it is a real drum that he's actually playing, you know? But you just wait until the next song before you to hear the kick drum of your life. Let me tell you. That's the one that I said gives me a heart attack when I listen to it.
I know. Cool ending.
Oh, that is such a good song. They write such good songs. What? Doing what thing?
Oh, I thought they were doing the thing where they slow it down again at the end.
Right. Because that's 3 songs in a row that would have been. Yeah. And so I think they are doing that on purpose, right? Like they're, like Chris just said, it's the perfect thing. They're subverting your expectations. You think they're going to do this thing and then they don't. And I kind of think that's the theme of the whole album, really, musically. Oh, just, it's so good. This whole album is so good. That dun 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 da 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 dun 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 da da da, like that shouldn't be in a metal song. It shouldn't be in a metal song, and it is, and I love it more than anything in the whole world.
Yeah.
The only other band that I know of that would do that is a Japanese metal band called Mook. That's the only other metal band that I know would do that, or any Japanese metal band, really.
Yeah.
Like some goofy. Chris, I told Cody before you got on, the next What Is Metal video we're gonna do is going to be like going through different things, but we're going to have a whole separate video where we just go through and we are going to watch and react to some live footage of Japanese bands performing, because we're going to do Baby Metal, we're going to do Love Bites, we're going to do Maximum the Hormone, maybe I'll pick a Mook one.
Fear and Loathing.
You're going to pick a Fear and Loathing one if you want, and if you know any other special band. If we want to scare the shit out of Cody, we'll do a Duran Gray one. And so we're gonna have so much fun doing that. So everybody watching the video,
we are.
If you want to hear that and see that, subscribe to the channel, and you'll hit that notification bell or whatever the crap. Okay, I can't wait anymore. I must inject Anesthesia Throne into my veins. Ironically enough, Metallica's song Anesthesia, worst thing I've ever heard. First, Cody, it is a 5-minute long bass solo.
It's cool.
And that's literally all it is. No, it's not cool. It's stupid. It is cool, really. It's just no one needs a bass solo of any length. And to have a whole and they knew that when they made it, because the song's called Anesthesia, and then in parentheses, pulling teeth. That's what it feels like to listen to the song, and I think they knew that. So, okay, here we go. My third favorite raunchy song of all time, after only Street Emperor and The Velvet Remains, and maybe even I like this a little bit better. This is going to give me cancer. This song is that good.
Good thing you've already got it.
Exactly. Here is Anesthesia Throne in 3, 2, 1. When the metal kicks in here, oh god, kills me.
This is a very Metallica song. And then it turns into In Flames. Or at the very least becomes very
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Swedish.
You're
or
right.
Norwegian or whatever it is.
Gothenburg. Why is he such a good drummer? The lead guitars in this song, so good.
You know, there's some icy stars in these vocals.
Oh, interesting. Except he doesn't sound so much... Well, I'm not going to say that. That's a mean thing. I kind of see that. I do.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
I already have my I See Stars song picked out to show Cody when we do the next metal video. Oh, the guitars, everything sounds so good here.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a heavier one, Cody, so...
Yeah.
That, oh.
You're gonna like Avenged Sevenfold.
I'm excited. I really am. All right, here we go, baby. Listen to that guitar go.
Sweep it.
Oh, they will.
What a machine.
Here we go. It only gets better. Oh. Didn't think it could get any better?
Man, oh man.
Now Gigon's attacking.
What a cool sound that was.
I'm getting a headache. Bring it back home. Man, when a band does something like this and then they give me the gift of a third chorus after that, that's what I live for. That third chorus. After just killing people with the bridge. This band doesn't do that. This band doesn't do that. They just did it though. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited for the new album. If they've only gotten better as musicians.
So is the new album gonna have the same vocals?
Yes, it's
Okay.
this same lineup.
Okay.
And then back to the intro. Or a part of the intro. How is he so good?
That song was relentless, man. Especially in that section in the middle that was like super cool. It was like there's this crazy part, and then it switches to another crazy part, and then you get to a third one, and then it's like, oh, and then we'll do this breakdown with these big vocals, and it's like, just stop! He's already dead. Like,
So Cody,
Yeah.
where does that song rank on your top 10 favorite raunchy songs?
I mean, obviously it was heavier than I would prefer, but like I was paying close attention to the drums and the guitar, and they were both extremely impressive. and every time it changed up, it was pretty cool.
So how do you feel when we get to choruses like that, where it's like during most of the verses, the guitars and the cymbals and the drums and everything are kind of like this plot. It's not necessarily plotting, but it's like this constantly moving forward thing. This da 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 da, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of their choruses have that feeling stops and it becomes da 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 da, or in this case da 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 da. Like there's space all of a sudden in the song, and then the vocals are flying over the top of it, and he does slower cymbals, and it just, I love that. I love it when bands do that, and I don't feel like Seven Dust does that on some of my favorite Seven Dust songs. Which Seven Dust you would love, Cody, after we do this. After this, you would love any metal band, because again, if I was going to show you a metal band, Raunchy would be like one of the last ones I would show you. Yeah. Other than something like, this is literally like a step above this would be like intentionally trying to like scare you with what you're hearing. Yeah. So this is like just a step below that.
And maybe that's what the Japanese metal will be. I don't know.
Yeah,
no,
it's too much fun.
It's
too much fun to be scary.
I've been debating about having you forcing you to make Audrey sit in with us when we do the Japanese one, but I don't know. I mean, her brother didn't like metal after all, so she can't like metal.
What was it that you said about I See Stars? I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I said I already picked out which I See Stars song we're going to show Cody as an example of like electronic dubstep metal.
Okay.
And the song I picked is "Filth Friends Unite" because the beginning of that song makes me feel the same way this song does. It like makes me want to just either kill someone else or some crazy horrific thing. And also, that's the song I showed Chris Schoenberg, which we have I believe a short of it on the channel, where he listens to it, and then when the guy starts singing, the reaction of the look on Chris's face when he starts singing, because you don't expect it.
No,
that's
got to be from Digital Renegade, right?
Yeah, it is.
Man, and the last two albums are so good.
I know, and I was debating about having you pick the song. But I think we've had such luck in the past with that song and reactions. I can't wait to see Cody's reaction. I think they got a little bit more serious after that. I have not heard their two albums after that. Digital Renegades and their album before that are the only two albums of theirs that I've heard. And honestly, I haven't even been able to make it through either of those either, because of all the people on planet Earth that decided to sing in a metal band, I just don't know if that guy should have made that decision.
Man, he's so good.
But yes,
I think
I can't
New
deny
Demons
it.
is just like an absolute beefcake of an album.
I know, you've said that.
Treehouse is crazy good.
Yep, and we should definitely do reactions to those. We've talked about it many times.
Wait a minute.
Both of those albums, I believe, were on your top 12 for those years, respectively.
Yep.
So, but we'll get to that in the future. That's another band, Cody, that's known for using their keyboards and their synths and stuff, and they are a more modern interpretation of that. Even though I think that probably Filth Friends Unite probably came out when 2013, 2012,
when
Digital Renegades came out.
Yeah, probably, because I didn't learn about them till I think like 2015.
Yeah, it was the height of dubstep, which was 2011, 2012, 2013. So, okay, so that was just possibly the greatest song of all time. And now we're going into another one that's kind of, easier to digest. And then after that, we have 4 tracks that all kind of meld together for me. and I feel are the perfect way to end this album. And if Raunchy's career had ended, I would have been okay with it because they ended it with these particular songs. The album gets more progressive from after this next song. So let's just go ahead and listen to this one, and then I guess we'll sort of set up what we're going to be hearing after that. But for now, we've got Luxuria, 4 minutes 27 seconds. In 3, 2, 1.
So is this the one you thought was more radio friendly or Castaway Crown?
I would say this one
Okay.
is more than the other one, but both of them are pretty radio friendly. This one, I think, more. This one has like one of the coolest choruses they've ever done. But this one is also the most Fall Out Boy.
I recognize this one too.
I think I probably showed you this one too for sure.
This is good stuff.
This is also this
Great
song. This song and the previous one are the 2 songs on this album that have the signature raunchy riff. So, yep. I love what the drums do, Chris, in this chorus. Pay particular attention to them. Although I don't think you could miss it, but. You think this one's about gluttony?
This is great.
Here we go.
Oh yeah, I've definitely heard this song.
And a happy little. And then up. Almost feels like there could be a solo or something else over this, but don't have to have a billion things flying around all the time.
Interesting. The drums never let up that whole section.
Yep.
It's like he was playing a different song.
He has to make up for how cheesy the chorus is.
Muting that cymbal does everything for this.
I know, and no one ever does it on the downbeat, ever. You never hear that.
Right.
It's so cool. This is what 2 vocalists is meant to do.
This is great.
Back to the main riff. This is also one of my other favorite, probably top 10 favorite Raunchy songs. But, well, we'll get to it.
I think that's probably my favorite on the album so far.
Yeah? What do you think, Cody?
It didn't stand. I mean, The last Anesthesia really stood out to me as kind of impressive, I guess.
Okay.
This one, I don't know, maybe it just wasn't doing it for me or whatever reason. I don't really know why. Maybe it was maybe it was like the chorus and everything. I don't know. I wish I could articulate it a little better because it just wasn't resonating with me.
That's so interesting. If I had to guess which one would be your favorite on this album, I would have said this one for sure.
Yeah.
It's just, I love the core. It's like Chris pointed out, you heard it right away, and perfect. The closed hi-hat thing, that it just, no one, that might be the only time in my life I've heard it on the downbeat. I like on the.
I don't even know if it was a closed hi-hat as much as it was like a hand mute, like a Lars style. Just like,
right. Yeah. I think it was the hi-hat. Like what he was doing was, you know how when you in a disco beat like Raunchy normally does, they go right. Mm-hmm. Here he was going like he was doing the offbeat hi-hat thing on the beats. I've never heard anyone do that. and oh, Cody, your furnace is kicked off. The cool, like, Moog again is the only other metal band that I know of that has a song that's just like like.
But that's the whole song. It's just them going.
Well, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't mean like the attack.
I know.
It's like
Moog is weird.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Attack on the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and like it's so cool. They're not. It's
that was great.
So cool and simple and stupid, and the vocal part is just. It's Yeppy doing that. Don't you know this is? And the other guy going, "Oh, first and last, goodbye." Like it's a call and response. It's the perfect thing for two vocalists to do. That song has almost no harsh vocals, but when they're there, they're the only thing happening vocally. So like it really stands out. It's so cool, and that's so cheeseball. Like, the reason no metal bands do that, Cody, is because it's so cheeseball. Like it's so cheesy. Like no one would do that. No drummer would do that.
I think anybody who would actively avoid making music that way because they're like above it or whatever is missing out on a big bag of money and a great song. Like,
I've been saying it the whole dang time. Yes, that's what makes a band like this fun. Mm-hmm. Now, for Avarice, we are going to hear the most crushingly brutal thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Ooh.
Are you guys ready for that?
Yes.
Because it's going to hit you pretty fast at the beginning. Not right away.
The lyrics?
It'll lull you into a sense. No, not the lyrics.
Okay. Music.
Are you ready, Cody?
Yep.
In 3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Old.
I'm gonna watch both of your guys' faces during this part.
Ooh,
It's very
separation on those hats.
Oh, and now that feeling is gone. And now we're just floating. Amazing. Amazing.
It's great. Almost too much cymbal here for me, but
Okay.
it might be your fault.
Well, there's not a lot there's not a lot happening in the guitars, you know? This is just atmospheric. All right, here we go.
Christian band, eh? Oh. That hi-hat's just the Whatever you're getting from that.
It's a combination of hi-hat and some sort of a synth thing.
Yeah. But the groove it was setting.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, from here on out, the album feels more progressive, so... I know I haven't explicitly said this yet. I said it earlier in some of the other videos, but this album has my favorite drumming of all time. I know I've said some of my favorite like songs and drums and stuff, but this entire album collectively is my favorite drumming I've ever heard. And I did force Austin to listen to some of this, and he loved it, of course.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he loved it. Yep. And it's kind of going...
Oh, I love the dissension on that.
Yeah.
This part's weird. I don't love it.
I agree, but I think if you were listening to the album as a whole, you'd be like, whoa, what is this? You know, this late into the album, and it is weird. I definitely agree. Oh, here we go, yeah. This riff.
Tambourine's doing work. Is that what that is?
Yeah, there is a tambourine. All right, here we go. Guest guitar solo from a guest guitarist. I love that ascending thing at the end there. That and it's harmonized too.
Oh, that's just... It's like if you were standing in a waterfall of coins.
It is, yeah. Oh, yeah. So good. Okay, so Cody,
Great
how are
song.
you feeling? Are you feeling a little fatigued? About
Yeah,
all this?
maybe. And maybe that's what you were saying about listening to this album all the
It
way
is.
through.
It is. Like, especially because, like, in that song in particular, like, to listen to Anesthesia Throne, which just,
Yeah.
and then a poppy song, and then that one where it's just like I'm not joking when I say that's like one of the heaviest things I've ever heard. Like, you could only get heavier than that if it's like absurdly like vocal stuff, like some goofy like thing, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I guess
the vocals weren't
breakdowns.
crazy. The
No.
vocals were.
No, and that's the weird thing about that song is that it does feel really floaty for a big portion of it,
Yeah.
but that it also feels really like, just crushing. So
Yeah.
all right, well let's push through. We've only got a few more.
Okay.
So Frozen Earth, we've only got 3 more, and I feel like these 3 songs go together really well. That previous one a little bit too, but from here on out, the album really has a vibe to it. So we'll keep pausing between songs, but we won't take too long.
Okay.
This is Frozen Earth in 3, 2, 1.
Are we gonna listen to 12?
No.
Okay. Those sounds nice. Ding, ding, ding.
They've used these bells a few times on this album, haven't they?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and they're just so well recorded.
They're probably not recorded. They're probably just a digital patch, but yeah.
That's fair.
Right.
Sounds great though. He does these little like, where it's like it's almost 1, but it's actually like 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think my Primal Water sticker cloned itself. I don't recall having 2 of them.
You didn't realize there was 2 stuck together. That's funny. This song, doing what Metallica loves to do, feels like you joined halfway through the song. They don't make drummers more interesting than this, the way this guy plays. They just don't. What?
I just accidentally turned on my narrator, so the music dropped way down, and he was like, narrator dialogue. Okay, turning off narrator. And this feels very old school raunchy. A lot of complex movement happening here.
How do you feel about this chorus?
This whole song's not grabbing my attention as much
Okay,
as I'd like.
interesting.
Like the explosion at the end.
Classic.
Right, yep. And
Classic.
it goes into kind of the next song
Yeah.
there, so it stops. So this is the point of the album where I usually tap out. Like, I'm like, this is just too much for me. It's hard. I just got my socks blown off on the previous track, and then
Yeah.
kind of a weird feeling chorus, like the rest of it, and then this one kicks in, and I like the dun da 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 da, like the sort of main part that happens there is really neat, but I feel like in this particular song, they didn't necessarily need to do that chorus the third time, which I know I'm saying that is crazy, but like, I haven't mentioned this throughout the whole album, but there's a lot of songs on this album where they just do verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro. Like, they do not do multiple verses. Sometimes they do, but a lot of the songs don't have 3 choruses. A couple of them do, but a lot of them don't. Actually, a majority of the ones we've heard don't. And I think that's one that didn't necessarily need it. It would have been neat for them to go to something different, but I'm not going to complain that they did it,
Yeah.
because I like it in general when they do that, but I just think that one, like, again, this is where they're getting to be more, like, that song might not have sounded exactly, but that was a lot more technical than a lot of the stuff we've been hearing. The chord progression they had going there during this sort of bridge part was much more mathematically difficult than some of the stuff we've heard, especially some of the like poppy stuff where they're just going dun 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 dun. Like, that was like, I imagine looking at their fingers and them having to stretch quite a bit, and so so I just feel like we're getting a little bit more technical and more progressive here, and especially with these last 2 songs as well. Okay. So now we're going into Clarity in 3, 2, 1. And I will say I like these last 2 songs more than the 2 that came before it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah.
This sounds great. A lot of low end in that.
Yep.
I really think the drums really are doing so much work in this album.
1,000,000%. They're so interesting all the time. And he does something different every 5 seconds. It's incredible. But it doesn't feel too much,
This chorus is good.
Yeah. Some piano, nice. Haven't heard that for a while.
Odd time signature on this.
Yeah. Vocal a little low here.
I was going to mention that in a previous song.
Yeah.
Forgot to bring it up.
Yeah. I think the vocals are a little low across the whole album, but there are some moments where they're so obviously not that it's kind of weird.
Yeah, the vocals are lower than the hi-hat in that section.
Yeah.
I think. this chorus is so good.
Yeah. See the sections have become longer, in everything.
Yeah.
And so it feels, like we're only halfway through the song,
Yeah.
And like this is the second chorus. There's a second, like there's the previous thing is a chorus, I think, and then this is also a chorus. So
yeah, this is a weird. I like the first chorus better than the second one.
Oh. I don't know if I would say that, but I like both a lot.
Yeah.
This is a little bit more stereotypically raunchy, but I don't know. Love the piano. Yeah.
That just sticks out like a thumb. That's crazy.
Yeah. Here we go, baby.
There's just nothing hitting those frequencies in the middle.
Love the piano. Love it.
Oh, this is a different song.
Oh, that's that's a Bill Murray style sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, proggy AF. Like Porcupine Tree. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
They leave so much room for those high plinky things in the middle. It just floats above.
This just has such a different vibe to it, and I love it. Mm-hmm. This is like a different band. It's so cool.
I bet, based on knowing nothing about anything, that this song, this vibe, is what the new stuff will be a lot like.
I hope so. I do. Because they're older dudes now, So it's like, I hope so. I hope that new album is quite progressive.
It's like they saw Imagine Dragons and decided to make this.
Why even call themselves metal anymore?
Close my eyes, I'm watching Arcane all over again.
I do hope that they get one song that gets some airplay and stuff, or gets put in something. Yeah. I don't want them to become the new Taylor Swift, but I mean, I would like it if they got popular enough and had unexpected success to the point where they're like, hey, but let's make another album after this one, That would be really cool, but I just think at this point
I already
in their
filled my
lives,
swimming pool with Fabergé eggs. I got to keep it lit, warm.
this is not the end, they said.
Well, he's right.
I love it. They're doing the Metallica.
Yeah.
Okay, so
They kept us hanging on that last note.
yep, but because the next song is going to be,
Yeah, I suppose.
So one thing I want to say is that I believe after they got there, while they were touring with this album, I do think that they kind of started writing more music after this. And at the time, I remember them saying, like, over the last 10 years, they have posted multiple times, like, we're in the studio working. And that's basically all they'd say. Maybe they'd post some pictures from in the studio. So I don't know if this new album from this year is going to be all new material that they got together and wrote, or if this is them trying desperately to finish something that they've piecemealed together throughout the last decade and just saying, like, we've got to release this because we've told people we would. This is our crescendo, you know? And I think either way, I'm okay with it. You know, if this is their, like, swan song, like, to me, the album we're listening to feels like a swan song, honestly, especially with the way it's ending here, all weird and different and, like, throwing ideas, but, like, having everything stick, I feel. If the next album is, like, a hodgepodge feeling type thing, I'll be disappointed. I especially want it to sound good, and I'm hoping it does, of course. But also, if they got together and were like, we've done all that stuff 8 years ago and then 5 years ago, let's just make a new album now. You know, I don't know. They seem to me to be the kind of people that would be constantly writing music, especially, I mean, all the guys in the band contribute and write stuff. So, and some of them have been in other bands and some of them have just been doing family stuff or having other jobs. So, you know, I don't know if this is going to be like we're a band now again, or if it's more, like I said, just like here's our gift to everyone, our final album type of thing. You know, I don't know. So with that being said, final track. And Chris mentioned earlier, he said, are we going to listen to track 12? For those of you who don't know, track 12 is a remix of a song, Night Party, from their previous album. And it's actually, Chris, a Drop remix. Drop is the guy who does all the electronics and everything for Cybreed. Who I've talked about before. He's done remixes for Birthday Massacre, Carpenter Brute, all these things. Every electronic group, band, a lot of people. He's done a lot of stuff. So anyway, there is an interesting person doing the soundtrack for the game you're working on, which is called Elsewhere. We now know. So
yeah,
I don't know what I'll make that work.
Working title. I mean, because it's right now the company, the studio and the game have the same name. So it's like one of them, one of us has to go home and change, kind of a thing. So we'll figure out which one it is.
Well, let's hope your studio doesn't get shut down like all Warner Brothers studios did yesterday.
I think more studios should make games that are just the name of their studio.
I don't.
They'll let bands do it.
A self-titled game.
I mean, it's
a self-titled game.
It's more of a tech thing, like Google and Spotify and stuff, where like the company is the product.
I will say a game called Sucker Punch by Sucker Punch could be pretty sweet, you know.
Sure.
Now, Sony's Santa Monica, I don't know. There's been enough games set in. Been enough games set in California. We don't need that anymore.
Ooh, Tokyo Game Studio.
What Japan Studios.
Japan Studios.
PlayStation Studios. Okay, this is the last track, the Singularity Heart, in 3, 2, 1.
It's beefy, 740.
Yep, the longest on the album, I believe.
And it's starting like a long song at the end of an album does.
Which I love.
How much high-end did you add to this one?
Just the normal. The same thing. I kept it the same the whole time.
Yeah, this sounds really nice. A little bit of that goes away here, but...
Right. Well, I think it's just they had twinkly sounding acoustic guitars.
Yeah.
You know, it's not their forte. Also, they needed to slice through stuff like this, so it's like... Really different, right?
Little Linkin Park there, some Chester in the vocals.
Interesting, okay. That was a little Backstreet Boys. And I'm not saying that with any shade. I'm a fan. Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, he's all over the place.
Yep. Again, they're passing the vocals back and forth. Really subduing those cymbals there to hear the acoustic guitars.
Mm-hmm.
I would love it if there was more acoustic guitar on the new album. I don't think they will.
Really...
I don't think they will because I think they're going to try to keep it simple so they can play it live, I would assume. You know, this is after a string of albums. Spread out pretty far, but still,
yeah,
you know, a decade's worth of music, so...
Cool. Oh, that sounds familiar. Weird. It's like he's lost.
But it keeps coming back to itself.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gesundheit. They're referencing some of the other songs across the album in this one. Like musically and stuff.
Huge. Wow.
Ah,
Stole that drop from me.
The opening riff from the album.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yep.
Cool. Love it. Muse would do this. And has.
Yeah. Cody needs to hear Muse, Chris. He doesn't really know much Muse.
Yeah.
Boy, we gotta have a good time.
I know. What would you show him, though? Absolution?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or just a greatest hits type thing? I mean...
Absolution.
Hold on. Let's think about it and let's...
Yeah. Let's finish the band we're on first.
Yeah, let's
let them fade this song out first.
let's let them give the middle finger to Patrick.
Love it.
Now, what they're saying at the end there is everything inside disappeared upon our awakening. Hold on, I gotta stop it. Everything inside disappeared upon our awakening to the beginning of what will become the end.
All right.
So the end with
Yeah.
extra words.
Well, what will become the end, right?
Yeah.
Which I just love. I think that's so cool. I like it when bands are like end an album with the idea of it being the end.
Yeah.
Which I've heard.
Well, just wait till you hear Abbey Road.
Interesting. I've in the last 3 Power Man 5000 albums, Spider has thought is going to be the last album that he ever makes. So he always ends it with a song that's like, "This is the end. This is my final journey." You know, and he keeps coming back to make more, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm fine with that. It's not the greatest albums of all time for certain, but
for his final album, he should just put out a compilation EP of all his
final
songs.
Yeah, and then a cover of a David Bowie song or something. Okay, so Cody, I want to hear you talk about this album, but just because
About this album or Raunchy in general?
This album first, because
Okay.
I'm really curious. Like I said, this album feels taxing once you go through it. So I'm curious if you felt that.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't know, do you like this album overall more than what we've heard? Like, you know,
Not necessarily. I think I like the vocalist more, I guess. I think he added to the album, and it was good to have him in there.
yeah.
The more I thought about it, I Anesthesia really did kind of blow me away with all the technical stuff happening in that, and it was just kind of a tour de force.
Yeah.
But yeah, the album kind of lost my interest in the last 4 songs, or right about the time you were saying that.
Yep.
But I don't know. I feel like their other albums, you were getting more like distinct like synth parts that were. I feel like we got like more strings on this one, maybe.
Yes.
And more like piano.
Strings and piano, absolutely. Yep.
And to me, the fun synth parts were the parts that grabbed my attention in the previous albums that we listened to. So I was missing that. But you know, the vocals were a little better on this one, I think. So overall, it was a good album. I don't know.
Okay. But okay, it's interesting. Do you think you would like it more than the previous one, which seemed to be both of your guys' favorite before we got to this one?
Probably not, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think
know.
it would necessarily be. See, to me, or okay, Chris, I would like to hear what you think first.
I think this whole album really is a pretty big like tour de force in terms of it's just so massive and complex, and it really is just that big major league step up from everything they've done before. Like, all of that music is good, but this feels like a production. Like, this is a 200-300 people circus. You know, this is when you finally make your first AAA game. Like, you've got a team of 500 and it takes you 8 years. Like, this is everything, all firing all cylinders, like you had said early on, where it's just like, this is, you know, they didn't really, if it was their last album, they didn't leave anything left to be explored, I would say, in terms of what they do.
Yeah. And which is funny you say that too, because I think this is the most like raunchy self-produced album they have. which the same guy, Jacob Hansen, did mix and master the album, but I believe they recorded a lot of it themselves remotely. Like the guitars
cool.
and everything were recorded by the guitar players there. The drums and the vocals, or the drums and the keyboards, I believe, were recorded at a certain place. And so, and a lot of albums are made that way, kind of written apart, and then pieces are all put together, and then you send it to redo your part here, do this. And so I think that's probably how this one was kind of made. I do agree with you. I think to me, the thing that makes this album special is that this album crosses over from being just a fun metal band to like, this album is I don't necessarily want to say that it is a piece of art, but it's definitely getting closer to like aiming for being more artistic, for sure, I think. And it's not just that they're being more serious. I think it's that they were willing to specifically have parts that aren't super fun in the songs. And I don't think that that's, necessarily a good or bad thing exactly. I like this album a lot. And I do definitely like the first, I like the middle of this album more than maybe any other Raunchy album. The end does get a little tedious to me, but I almost like the fact that it is tedious, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but it's almost like they're kind of holding on to you, at the end of it. And they're like, no, we're not going to let you go. We're going to force you to listen to this. Like, you're going to hear the artistic part of this. You're going to hear us stretch everything out to the maximum amount we can stretch it. And I kind of like that about it. And then the beginning of it is more like songs that could have existed on some of the other albums. And as the album goes on, it's kind of like, hold on a second. I need to take this a little bit more seriously. And I really like that aspect of it. And I do think some of their best songs are on this album. Both they're like more serious songs and they're more goofy songs too. Like, I think there's some really fun stuff on this album. And it is a nice culmination of everything. And
I think it's their best album.
Do you? Okay, I was curious about that. I also think it's their best album.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say it's my favorite album of theirs, but I do think it's their best album. And I think it's their best, most mature album. I think it's their best songwriting. I think it's them embracing a new singer and really allowing him to drive the vocal ship, but also keeping enough of Yeppy in there, more Yeppy almost than Mike, the vocalist from before, so that it really does sound like Raunchy. And like I said, them working together is just so perfect. And I'm so excited. And I know Mike Semeski is actually a great singer, and he does like online vocal coaching and stuff. And
cool.
And I've listened to the other bands that he was in. In none of his other bands does he sing with this sort of like Panic at the Disco-y style at all.
Cool.
So he did that just for Raunchy, which I think is interesting and really cool.
The difference between the previous album and this one is exactly the same difference as between New Demons and Treehouse. If you go
Interesting.
back to Icy Stars, like that level of maturity where it steps up like this is they really know exactly what they're doing and they're doing the hell out of it.
Yeah. And for me personally, like, it's really hard to articulate the more artistic side of things that I like about something, and that's why it's hard for me to talk about some albums that are just like, I think are phenomenal, but it's like, it's just, it's easier for me, I guess, to talk about the things that are like fun and like, listen how exciting and different this is, more so than it is to talk about like, boy, you really have to think about this thing, it's like more, I guess it's easier for me to talk about the more surface level stuff.
And we didn't even mention the lyrics, which completely go along with everything you've been saying. They're more mature. They're completely serious throughout the entire album.
Yep.
As far as from what I saw, whereas we were laughing out loud at some of the lyrics in the last albums.
100%. Yep. And it's funny too, because like, whatever. We don't need to go into that. So, so just real quick before we end the video here, I want to sort of overall Raunchy type thing. Cody, like I've said now multiple times, this is not the band that I would have started you on with this metal journey-ish,
Sure.
Like, and the main reason we started we did the What Is Metal thing was because I wanted you to have a bit more understanding before we did this, just because I didn't think that you would like this really at all. And so hopefully that kind of worked. I think it did, because I think you had a lot of fun doing that, and I wanted to get through this so we could do more stuff like that.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and I, it has not turned me off of metal. I'll say that. Like
Right.
the Dream Theater one we did with the progressive stuff, like that really piqued my interest a little bit.
Yeah.
And like, I see that there is metal out there that I might enjoy. This
Right.
is not necessarily it, but
No.
yeah, I'm not going to hold
But
that
this,
against
I think
it.
this will make that so much easier. Like,
Yeah.
now that you've crammed this thing, it's like, oh, well, that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing. That's
That's
fine.
what I was leading towards. I was like, I
Right.
really think that anything we listen to from here on out, like Chris and I are really good people to get other people into metal, because we like such a wide array of it, but also I do feel like we like really accessible stuff too.
Yeah.
And I think I like a little bit more heavier stuff, but Chris also likes some pretty heavy stuff too. But and so it's really, we're good people to do this kind of a thing. And I think that having you done this, you'll be so, like Chris just said, you'll be so much more able to receive this other stuff when we do it. And since I think Raunchy is so fantastic in every way, like you heard great lead guitars, you heard the greatest synths that any metal band's ever used, you've heard clean vocals, you've heard 3 different types of harsh vocals, you've heard 4 different types of clean vocals, you've heard long songs, short songs, skinny songs, long, tall songs.
Songs to climb on rocks.
Songs to climb on rock. You've heard like every possible thing, and it's all from this band's point of view. And so now, if we went and showed you something like In Flames or Soilwork or Demon Hunter, I think you would love Demon Hunter. I've been thinking about that a lot.
Yeah.
Not necessarily love everything that they do, but I think like when we do the next video and we're showing you some of the stuff that I think Chris and I do like, you're going to be like, wow, this is like so different. And
having this context for the next What Is Metal video will be good, I think.
yes, and I really think when we do more fun stuff like the Japanese stuff, you'll be like, oh, this is like Raunchy, but just like turned up another notch.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to imagine, but that's what Japanese metal is. And at the same time, when we listen to ballads, which Raunchy doesn't do ballads really, they do some songs that are more accessible than others. But like when we listen to like more like Nightwishy sounding stuff, like we are going to do Poet and the Pendulum, like my one of my favorite Nightwish songs. We're going to do a live performance of that, and it's going to be so awesome. And I think you will appreciate that so much more now, because Nightwish is a metal band, and I think you'll really appreciate what they're doing more now. And I think the same will go for like any heavy music we listen to, So can you guys, Chris, you said this album was your favorite, and Cody, you said that
I don't even know, man.
the last album you said was your favorite so far, and I think you liked it more than this one. I don't know. So we don't need to talk about, I assume you guys don't want to talk about them overall really anymore.
It's tough. Like, I can give you what I think about this one, but it's been time since we heard the previous ones. We've only gone through a handful of songs on each one time. It's yeah.
And we screwed up the third one so
late.
bad. I know. We screwed up the third one so bad. So okay, well, we'll just kind of call it here. I'll say thank you so much for doing this with me, both of you. And then to everybody else, if someone watched all of these videos, thank you so much.
You're the real hero.
Yeah.
Because that's impressive.
Yes, absolutely. And also, like, if anyone from Raunchy, I joke around about it, if you guys hear or see these videos ever and decide to sit down and watch them, which I know a lot of people don't like to hear other people talk about or critique their music or anything like that, we did.
But I think that there's nothing but praise flowing through all of these. It's very obvious that you love this band. Like,
for sure.
I can't imagine that they would watch it and be like, nah, he said that thing.
Well, but
DQ,
some people
like...
can't. Some people just can't do it. They can't deal with anything. They can't look at reviews of their own stuff. And so I don't know. I wanted to do this. And if I die during my transplant, at least we'll have these videos out there. And when people,
well, if you get it edited.
Oh, I'll get it edited. I do have to edit.
Just
two
release it
videos
mid-edit.
All right.
now. But like I do think that hopefully some more people will go discovering this band with their new album, and then they might look them up, and then they'll come up. Our stuff will come up, hopefully. So
So I guess we'll see. Do we want to do the next album when it comes out later this year? Or are you going to do that with?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely doing that. The only
right.
problem would be if they decide to like shadow drop it in the next 3 months, and it's while I'm in the hospital, which we are going to do reactions while I'm still there. But like, I would like to. It's a tough because like while I'm in the hospital, the new Lights album, the new Birthday Massacre album, two of my favorite artists of all time are coming out. Plus, other like the new Epica album will be coming out. The new there's a lot of stuff I have on my calendar to look forward to. And I don't know if we'll get to do Spirit Box before I go into the hospital. Probably not. So there's those are 4 potential albums of the year right there. And so it's going to be real tough. And Raunchy this is going to be their first album in 10 years. They are one of my favorite bands of all time, if not my favorite metal band of all time, if not my favorite band, really. And I just, I want to do that review justice. And I know you guys probably wouldn't have any trouble not listening to it for like 2 months.
Right.
Right, yeah.
So I think we'll probably wait and do it after I come back home.
While you're in the hospital and afterwards, focus on the things that you want to do rather than the things that you feel like you have to do.
Well, and I think we'll probably end up doing shorter videos.
Yeah.
Just because my experience being in the hospital is like you cannot go an hour without someone coming in to do some baloney to you.
Yeah, I don't know how you're going to record
So-
while you're actually in the actual hospital, but...
I think I'll be able to do it.
You think?
Oh, yeah. Because I'll just tell the nurse, whoever my nurse is, like, just come in and take my vitals, while I'm recording. And I don't think they'll care about that. In fact, it'll be fun. All the nurses will be like sticking their head in the door,
Yeah.
But I might be sick too. From what I've gathered from everybody, I'll be very sick for weeks. So, and I'll definitely be hooked up to a lot of stuff. So,
Yeah.
But I'm taking my PlayStation, and that's my plan. Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out the week before I go in.
Perfect.
So I'm going to play a little bit of it on my awesome new TV, and then I'm going to put it and play it on my monitor and just enjoy PlayStation for a while. So, and
Cool.
Hunter has been telling me he wants me to install Minecraft again. He wants us to go back into our old Minecraft world and work on it and try to fix it up nice so we can make.
You know
a nice
what? He's
Minecraft
probably having nostalgia for when he was a kid.
Honestly, yes, because it was been like
love
4 or
Minecraft,
5
man.
years since we worked on that, and we had a whole world built, and we were going to do a video about it and everything, and we just stopped. We made
Minecraft rules.
40 hot air balloons. we came up with a format to make hot air balloons with different colors and patterns, and so you have to build from the ground up to how high you want it, then build them, and then break them to the ground. And we did like 40 is probably an exaggeration, but like 25, hot air balloons just all over the dang world. And it looked so cool. So
Nice.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Every time I play Minecraft, I go to the deepest ocean and I build like an underwater city.
Dude, that's so cool.
It's just BioShock every time. I just take all the glass, I just make a dome, and I flood all the water out of it, and then fill it with trees and
I love it. That's so cool. And another thing, Hunter, it's so funny. I love that you said that, Cody, because when I would play with Hunter, I would come up with these designs for like a house or a building or whatever, and I'd try to make it symmetrical and look kind of neat and stuff, and I wasn't very good at it.
Yeah.
And so I'd make whatever, and Hunter would like make this thing that was just a square, so some simple thing, and and he's like, man, when I go into our world and look at it, I remember I used to think my buildings were so cool and that yours were stupid, and now I look at him and I'm like, yours are like built by an architect, and mine are built by a 5-year-old. I'm like, you were 5 years old, but it's so funny because he is getting to that age now where he's like, he realizes like, man, you really.
I'm
had
trying to think of like how old is he now?
He's 13.
Okay, I'm trying to think of like when I first had nostalgia for anything in my life, and it might have been early teen years.
Because I feel like 11 and 12 is like when we start forming our own likes of things.
Yeah.
Instead of just what's happening around us as kids.
Sure, that's true.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, and I was way different growing up. But Hunter's a lot like me,
Yeah.
which is good and bad in some ways.
But anyway,
But anyway,
It's been baked in 5 hours.
thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thank you, Raunchy, for making some of my favorite albums of all time. Thank you guys for doing this with me. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up on the channel. Stick around, and we will see you then.